We're live. Countdown. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show, and I want to discuss Shoe0nHead and Vaush discussing Joe Rogan, and I want to give you my take on this. So that's what I'm about to do, and I will share a few words right afterward. Give me a moment. Oh darn! I got to share the screen. Tend to do that. Well, apparently Vaush is taking issue with Shoe0nHead over the issue of her take on Joe Rogan. So I'll, as I said, we're going to play this, and I will discuss.
People who hate Joe Rogan online remind me so much of, like, in the 90s when, like, angry moms would bitch and moan about Howard Stern. That's exactly what these people are. Oh, he needs to be responsible with his platform. Shut the fuck up! Why? People watch trash TV all the time. Does fucking Jersey Shore need to be responsible with their platform? People like Joe Rogan because he's not an ideologue. People like that shit. People like that in a time where it seems like all other media is, like, preaching and looking down on people and, like, on this, being on this pedestal. They can go to Joe Rogan where it's, like, just a dumb fuck getting high, and it feels like you're just, like, talking to your friend, you know? Just, like, having discussions. And it's just real fucking cringe. Like, I hate this shit about Joe Rogan. Like, oh, get him off of Spotify. Fucking the government? Like, some guy who works for the government was like, oh, big tech has a responsibility, to, like, are you fucking government 1 and 2 coming together? Fucking big tech and, like, someone who works for Joe Biden. Like, oh, big tech has a responsibility to, like, not have this. Shut the fuck up. This is just gonna make him more popular, too. He's gonna become, like, some martyr or whatever. Anyway, I like Joe Rogan. Of course I don't agree with him all the time, but that's why I like him. Like, learn to just fucking chill. Why does everything gotta be, like, mommied? Why do you have to mommy everything? Fucking damn. Shut the fuck up!
I did not find those arguments particularly convincing. Yeah, I think High Progressive spells it out right here. Difference is that wine moms got mad at Howard Stern for saying naughty words, people are mad at Joe Rogan for spreading misinformation about life-saving vaccines, details matter. And climate change now, apparently. The thing that I don't get is, like, how are you supposed to disagree with something, right? Like,
this is a great day for New York.
Oh gosh, I hate these.
Together, we are
I knew
taking
that was going to happen.
a step forward to our future.
I hate these ads. It makes my commentaries look dorkish. Please disregard the ad.
so I don't think that a person who works in the federal government doesn't have a right to say that big tech has a responsibility to do X or Y. I mean, I guess the issue is that, like, this is always a lot less clear-cut than people seem to think. I'm pretty sure Shoe0nHead is okay with some elements of terms of service, right? Like, if there was a YouTube channel that was doing nothing but posting harassed, docs, threats, whatever, you know, even if it wasn't illegal, I think she would be okay with that getting taken down. The stuff that I don't get about Joe Rogan, the idea that they were going to take down Joe Rogan, like take him off the platform, is just ridiculous, of course. That was never going to happen. Like that Neil Young thing, like, I mean, I get the principle, but Joe Rogan is like the biggest media figure, like the biggest. It's not going to be. It's not going to be ousted by Neil Young. Not now, not ever. But in terms of like, what was it? Feels like, listen to it again. All right, I'll listen again. Let's go for a point by point.
The people who hate Joe Rogan online remind me so much of, like, in the 90s when, like, angry moms would bitch and moan about Howard Stern. That's exactly what these people are. Oh, he needs to be responsible with his platform.
I think that's a really bad comparison. All it really does is reveal that Shoe doesn't understand the difference between substantive and non-substantive concerns. Howard Stern was trashy, but, like, not like what Joe Rogan does, It's not a civility thing. It was civil, like Jordan Peterson's civil, right? He's a very civil guy. But, like, that's not the issue. Does Joe Rogan, get up there and scream? A little bit, but not really. Not like Howard Stern, at least, but that's not the point.
Shut the fuck up! Why?
Yeah, Vaush. Please, Vaush. Shut the fuck up. Honestly, Vaush, take her advice. I know she really wasn't telling Vaush to shut the fuck up, but it's a nice thought. Well, I want to go give you my take on this, because I found it last night while I was at work. And I'm off this evening, people, so that's really good. Let me talk about Shoe0nHead's take, and I'm going to also give you Vaush's take, and I'm going to give you my take. Okay, she made a valid point about, a lot of people getting, clutching their pearls about Joe Rogan. It's kind of like the 1990s angry mom over Howard Stern, and I'm an old man. I'm in my early 50s, so I was definitely in my 20s back in the 1990s, and in my 30s in the early 2000s, of course, in the first decade anyway. Regarding Howard Stern, he caused a ruckus, and he was edgy. I didn't agree with Howard Stern on everything, but I kind of like the fact that he was brash, rude, cynical, and I like that about him. The only thing I could say that I found wrong with Howard Stern until he became a shitlib was in 1994 he ran for governor in New York as a libertarian candidate. While I'm not a libertarian, I don't have a problem with him running as a libertarian, but he ran for the dumbest reasons. And his platform was, as soon as he gets elected and sworn in, he was going to go sign the executive order to reinstate capital punishment and step down. Even a Republican, what was his name? The Republican guy, I cannot remember, the man that defeated Mario Cuomo. Even he would have been a better governor than Howard Stern on that reason, because I oppose capital punishment under all circumstances. I make no apologies about that, but that's just George Pataki. George Pataki defeated Mario Cuomo, and the death penalty sadly came back into being. But if you're going to run just to reinstate the death penalty, it's like, yeah, fuck you, So for that reason, I still hold a grudge against Howard Stern. But on as far as his angle historically, throughout the years doing his radio program, I had no issue with it. But he got sanitized, and he became basically no different from your late night TV talk shows host. I mean, even having Hillary Clinton on the show, which actually, as much as I hate Hillary Clinton, her going on Howard Stern probably made her a little bit better in my eyes, even though I still hate her. But somebody's gone really low when they're having Hillary Clinton on their show asking softball questions. Add insult to injury by supporting one of the worst candidates in the Democratic primaries 2 years ago, former Mayor Michael Bloomberg. What the fuck? So that's my take on Joe Rogan. Now, with regard to Shoe0nHead, yeah, all this attempt to try to silence, punish, put warning labels, or even trying to deplatform Joe Rogan, vilifying him the way I've seen a lot of progressives trying to do, is going to push him to the right. But she's also correct that it's also going to make him a martyr. And so, I just sometimes I look at a lot of folks in the progressive movement and I'm like, lack common sense. And I'm not trying to be a Tim Pool type. I'm not trying to be a Dave Rubin type, or a Sargana Bakad type that purports to be, nominally left and trying to create a better left. What I'm basically am saying is that it seems like it seems like a lot of times, more times than not, the left take the bait and they champion causes and champion tactics that's just going to guarantee a stronger, more successful right wing in this country. And the last thing we need is a stronger, more successful right wing in this country. So, it's really just baffling. And like Shoe0nHead, I don't agree with Joe Rogan on everything. There's a lot I disagree with Joe Rogan on. There's most things he talks about are benign, and there are some things that I think he's okay on, politically speaking, and that's what it comes down to. But it's like that they're trying to turn him into, the next right wing face, and the left is going to be the cause. I think that a lot of liberals, a lot of blue checkmark liberals, and the ones who like to go to brunch, they're the reason why Tulsi Gabbard started flirting with the right. And it just, sometimes people kind of pushing people out of their movement. It just goes against the grain of reason. Now, with regard to Vaush, I know that Vaush, at one time when I was first familiar with him, he was recognized as a free speech absolutist. And now it seems like lately he's kind of flirting around with censorship, sounding, pretty much no different from your mainstream liberal types. And I'm hearing censorship talk from, people, some people, like, the Young Turks have started flirting with censorship issues. I hear Miki Kuntz talk about it on Majority Report. It's a little disconcerting, and I'm starting to hear Vaush talk about it from what I could tell. And I'm sorry, this term of agreement thing, that the straw man that they try to pull, is bullshit. It is a bullshit way to try to try to cancel culture and eliminate your political opposition. And I'm going to warn y'all on the left, those who favor censorship on the left, this is my warning to you all. This is the hill I die on, but this is my warning to y'all. Doing this shit is going to end up harming the left, because believe me, the right will turn around and use it. Not everybody on the right. I know some people that think, some people who are conservative or libertarian leaning, thinks that all I ever do is dump on the right. And I'm sure there are people who listen to this program or are familiar with my program who are like, yeah, he's one of those people who claim to be on the left and always criticizing the left. I criticize anybody that deserves to be criticized. Yes, it's a low bar, but it's true. The Republican Party is the worst mover and shaker around. A lot of their policies are horrible. Doesn't mean that I hate all Republicans. Doesn't mean that every elected Republican is evil. Doesn't mean these things. But overall, what they wish for in the economy and what they project as liberty, in a lot of cases, is not liberty, are things that I oppose by most Republicans. And, make no apologies about that. Corporate Democrats is another obstacle to progress because the Democratic Party has been allowed to be Reaganized by Bill and Hillary Clinton going back into the 1990s. And some people don't understand what I mean by that. And I know 30 years is like a long time, 35 years. After the 1984 election with Walter Mondale's massive defeat and Ronald Reagan's landslide victory, a group of Democrats got together and saying, well, we got to go and make sure this never happens again. We got to make sure we never get another George McGovern. We got to make sure we never get another Walter Mondale. And so what they decided to do, they created the Democratic Leadership Council. And the purpose of the Democratic Leadership Council was to appeal to the center by dealing with bread and butter issues instead of social liberalism. But what happened with the Democratic Leadership Council is that when Bill and Hillary Clinton took over, they didn't sit there and focus on bread and butter issues and kitchen table issues. They got corporate. They made the Democratic Party more corporatized. And what could have been argued, I'm not saying that the Democratic Party was a Labour Party on par with the Labour Party in the UK or the Social Democrats in Sweden. But what I'm saying is that the Democratic Party kind of catered to those that wish that the Democratic Party be that kind of political party. And it moved away from that particular ideology and moved toward basically a Reaganized movement of liberalism. They kind of kept some of the social liberalism, what one would call identity politics, and then added an authoritarian edge toward it, but then declare war against the working class people, and then come up with draconian anti-civil liberties measures like the Biden crime bill in 1994, which not also incarcerated a lot of black people in prison that should not have been in prison in the first place. It actually extended the death penalty, federal death penalty, to 50 crimes. And what happened is that the Democratic Party wanted to make sure that they looked like they were tough on law and order. And Bill Clinton came up with this, the era of big government's over in January 1995. This is the Democratic Party, and this is just as big of an obstacle to what needs to be done as, the Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene nutcases that's inside the Republican Party today. So you got the Republicans, who are an obstacle to progress. They're the biggest obstacle, followed by the corporate Democrats. They are the next biggest obstacle. And the third biggest obstacle are our allies in the movement, the squad. Now, I'm not sitting there saying, fuck the squad, like some people on, I'm sort of in between. I consider myself in terms of trying to fight the good fight. And while I will never vote for another Democrat again, I'm not going to be a judgmental asshole and say, well, you're part of the problem. That's your strategy. You do you. You want to go and support a Democrat? You think that's going to work? Go ahead and do that strategy. You should think that working exclusively with third parties is the way to go. Go with that strategy. Let a thousand flowers bloom, I believe is the phrase. But, as I said, AOC, the squad, and even Bernie Sanders, all are let down. I'm going to have to be honest. I don't think they want to let down. I think their hands are tied. I really do. I think their hands are tied. But sometimes it's like they're willing to just give up easily because they don't want to have that finger wagged at them and say, be written off as the next Ralph Nader. Anything but that. They don't want to be written off as the next Ralph Nader. And people like Vaush, people like Sam Cedar, people like David Packman, the Young Turks, they go around and makes excuses and say, well, the squad are just absolutely awesome. They're fighting the good fight. We're going to get to where we need to. Just be patient. Just be patient. They're not doing a damn thing. I mean, and then if you go and follow a strategy of force to vote, you're considered divisive. You're considered a right-winger for trying to be very, very militant about what you want. Militant demands over what is considered mainstream free stuff that exists in Canada, in Europe, Australia, a lot of the social democracies around the world. And mainstream, it is mainstream, it isn't fringe, it's mainstream. It's only fringe because the right wing has been successful in conditioning people to thinking healthcare for all, that's a radical idea. And I get really upset with that. And I know I'm pontificating too much. But anyway, let me get back to this terms of agreement bullshit. That is a way to try to shut down your opponents without actually being visibly or actively for censorship. And I believe that we need to reform this terms of agreement bullshit. Yeah, you shouldn't threaten somebody. You shouldn't threaten somebody. You should not advocate violence. That is the damn truth. But if you advocate a position or of who you like or don't like in terms of your personal prejudices, or if you don't think that whatever issue it is, even if I really, really disagree with it, I do not think it should be shut down. That's smacks of authoritarianism. But the thing about it is that I agree with Vaush in this one regard, that they're not going to go and shut down or deplatform Joe Rogan because there's too much money to be made. My prediction is that my personal prediction is that it's very likely that he will either go further right. I'm talking about Joe Rogan, because when you're treated nicer, that there's a saying, you can attract flies with honey than with vinegar. I think it's that saying. Well, I think that's basically what's happening. If the other side is being nice to you and the other side is being shitty to you, you're going to go and be like, well, gee whiz, this side seems to be a little bit nicer to me. So, and that's what could happen with Joe Rogan, and then he's going to end up being with Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, and I'm not going to say Dave Rubin because he thinks Dave Rubin's an idiot, which I agree. But he's going to end up going on the other side and hobnobbing with the right, and he's going to start talking the lines of the right because that's just where he's going to unintentionally grift. So or if he tries to remain independent, be everything to all people, well, here's what will happen. What will happen is that he could become the new Howard Stern. The edginess that Howard Stern had is gone. And it could be that the edginess that Joe Rogan has. And even that I disagree with Rogan on many issues. And I do. I agree with Joe Rogan on many issues. He is edgy, and he's much more interesting as far as the diversity of guests than some of these mainstream shows. Even when I'm critical of Joe Rogan right now at 12:48 a.m. February 3rd Eastern Standard Time, even where I'm heavily critical, I would still rather watch Joe Rogan than to watch Anderson Cooper on CNN or Greg Gutfeld on Fox. Any day I would rather do that. So I mean, I mean, Wolf Blitzer is not interesting. Sean Hannity is not interesting. But when you have people, when you have people, and your guests can range one day from idiots like Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder or Candace Owens, one day, and then the next day Kyle Kalinske or the Amazing Atheist or Cornel West. I mean, to me that speaks volumes, and it means that he's fair. And I will say this about Joe Rogan, that unlike Dave Rubin, who claims he believes in the battles of ideas, but ended up making a safe space for the Ben Shapiros, the Steven Crowders, the Dinesh D'Souza's, and the Candace Owens and the Dave Rubins of the world. He made a platform for these folks. I'm talking about Dave Rubin, his Silly Rubin report. Right now, Joe Rogan kind of will talk to anybody willing to be talked to. How sad is it that Cenk Uygur and David Pakman were on Joe Rogan at one time, and then and I don't know where David Pakman is actually officially opposed to Joe Rogan at the moment, but I do know that Cenk Uygur had some choice words with Joe Rogan recently. So anyway, I'm just that's just my take. Listening to Vaush pontificate in his silly way, almost trying to find a way to, and for what I can tell, silence Joe Rogan. And Shoe0nHead is correct. Even if Joe Rogan turned out to be the next Rush Limbaugh, and you know where I stand on the late Rush Limbaugh. It was one of the biggest pieces of shit you could ever imagine in the last 30 plus years. I still would favor not silencing people. Silencing people sucks. Silencing people just prove that you are too afraid to stand up for yourself. So you're really not intelligent enough to go and fight the other side. I don't consider myself a strong intellectual, but I'm going to say that when it comes to tackling my opponents, even there are people who could trounce my ass in a debate, I know I'm not wrong, so I'm not going to go and coward and be afraid to stand up for myself. And what some of these people, what they call libtards do, is they want to go and eliminate your political opponents by cancel culture. And that's your way of winning? Now, the right wing would censor if they could, but the only reason that the left are not overtly censored by the right is because the right, the online right and the media right, the PragerU types, got the money and resources to drown out the left. And so left wing voices are definitely drowned out. And, and anyway, that's the way I'm seeing things right now. So we have a busy chat line, so that's always cool. I've been having busy chat lines lately. That is very base. So let me start here. Propaganda Live. How are you doing today, Willie, my boy? Hey, how are you? Propaganda, if you don't mind, please, in the comment section, please send me some material on Mr. Wilson. I tried looking it up, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty. Anyway, hey Willie, it says, let's see, and that was Propaganda Live. Hey Willie says, Dirtbag Leftist. Hey, how are you today? Let's see here. Ben Shapiro, hot retarded chick, says Ben Shapiro is a hot dude. I don't know what to say about that. Let's see here. Dirtbag Leftist, right. Even if Spotify takes Joe off, his fans will follow him wherever he goes. Yeah, they will create alternative platforms. I mean, as much as I hate Gab, Gab is a thing because of the council culture attitude from Silicon Valley and much of the liberal establishment, and that's a problem right there. Not that I want to go and abolish or censor Gab. In fact, if anything, I would argue for the left to go into Gab and try to fight really shitty speech with superior speech. That's how much of a free speech proponent I am. Let's see. Hot retarded chick says, I bet you Joe got what he wanted. Well, he's getting a lot of publicity over this, and he's going to get a lot of sympathy as a result. Brian Arcana writes, believing that the left or the right will be the solution is the definition of insanity. Yes and no. I would say yes and no. I would say the best of the old left is the way to fight for justice. And I will say when it comes to the right, the best aspect of libertarianism is the best way to fight for justice. And for some reason, there's a lot of people that don't understand that when I bring that concept along. Let's see here. Hot retarded chick says, Shoe's got a cute beak. Yeah, well, everything about Shoe is cute. She is adorable. I mean, she is so adorable that I hope she finds out that I bought a Shoe0nHead plush. And she's always displayed prominently here when I do my live stream. And I know that makes me look like a goofball, but I really do like Shoe. Let's see. Bryson Arcana, and I said Brian previously, I'm sorry. Bryson Arcana writes, in my opinion, which is my house, I'm told he doesn't mean shit. Well, let's see here. Let's keep going. Hot retarded chicks writes, Shoe's not old enough to have been properly spanked yet. She just turned 30. So, let's see. Alright. Okay. Well, anyway, everyone, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Share the content on this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, keep that red flag flying. Keep the class struggle going. And of course, let me just say, free Julian Assange. And now, we conclude, and I will see y'all next time.